I am live on YouTube's the YouTube. Hello, everybody. This is I think my first time doing this kind of thing, at least in a long time, doing this kind of thing on YouTube. And so, hello, this is Vivek Patel here from Meaningful Ideas. I'm just going to share this on my Facebook page and also in my Gentle Parents Unite Facebook group, both of which I love so much. I'm here to talk today about trusting the process, but I don't really want to get into it until I share this post because um, because I want to have people to have a chance to see it. So I shared it in Meaningful Ideas, and you can see it there. I need to tag my mom. If someone's listening to this, you can tag my mom. And now I'm going to post it in Gentle Parents Unite. And I appreciate your patience. I am going to be talking about trusting the process, trusting the process. Why is that important? Why is trusting the process important? Because, when we're doing our parenting stuff, it's really challenging a lot of the time. It can be really, really challenging a lot of the time. And so, what we want to do is sometimes we feel like maybe giving up, like it's too hard, and uh, and then our kids are sometimes acting really in really challenging ways. Kind of hesitating to get too much into it. This is my first time going live on YouTube, like I said, and the web page crashed. I hope I'm still live. Okay, I'm going to share it on Gentle Parents Unite as well. And then I'm going to focus, I promise. Thank you for your patience. I do this because, of course, I want to share it with as many people as possible. Oh, oh yeah, and one more. Um, And the reason I do this is because I know these ideas, as challenging as they sometimes are, and I know they are super helpful when you get the hang of it and you really get into it. All right. Share it in three places. I'm going to just go. So, hi everybody. It's Vivek Patel here from Meaningful Ideas, going live spontaneously. Oh wait, let me just tag my mom before I do anything else. Hang on. Oof. Oh, oh, okay, not there. Hang on. Sorry. Have patience with me. Family is important. My mother will not be happy if she misses this. Okay, she's tagged. All right, here we go. So, hello everyone. This is Vivek here from Meaningful Ideas and Gentle Parents Unite. And I've been thinking, I teach conscious parenting, I share conscious parenting ideas, and I also guide families with my partner and collaborator and co-conspirator, Sujai Johnston, who is the founder of Gentle Parents Unite. And we have the Gentle Parents Unite Becoming Gentle membership group, which I'd love for you to join. So yeah, I'm working with a lot of parents and we do a lot of deep work, uncovering old patterns. By the way, just to warn you, I have a bit of a bad back today. So if I'm fidgeting, that's why. Uncovering old patterns, ancient patterns, some of them, and rewriting them to create patterns in our lives that are more in alignment with how we really want to walk in the world and the way we want to treat our kids and the kind of people we want to be. And it's a lot of deep work we do. And on a daily basis, um, I talk to parents who are really, really struggling with a lot of really hard things. Kids who are being defiant and hitting each other and harming themselves and all sorts of things. Harsh words, harsh behaviors, and it's really stressful. And it's really frustrating. And the gentle parenting path, the conscious parenting path, is about shifting our focus from behavior to what's underneath the behavior and focusing on the feelings, the needs, the relationship, the environment that give rise to the behavior. And it seems logical when you say it that way, but in practice, it's really challenging because if you have a 10-year-old coming at you with a fire truck wanting to hit you in the head, it's a hard moment, and that's not an uncommon thing. It sounds extreme, but it really isn't. And I say that because I and my colleagues over at Gentle Parents Unite, we have been watching thousands and thousands of families for the last few years, and watching what people are struggling with and offering them suggestions based on this philosophy. And one of the things that's really hard is that when we use punishment or consequences, in the immediate effect, it appears like it's having the effect that we want. It's creating what we want, because the kid becomes more compliant. Not all the time, um, but then the thinking is then I just have to ramp up the punishments so that they really get the message. And yet, what we teach here, what I teach, what I have lived for 23 years. So it's not just what I teach. It's not books. This is what I have lived for 23 years and continue to live, is shifting our awareness, our focus, our effort from behavior to relationship and feelings and needs. Thank you, Marshall Rosenberg, for those two words, and environment. And when we do that, everything kind of shifts for us. The thing is, a lot of the times what happens is parents have that shift, and I've seen this happen a lot of times. Parents have that shift. The light bulb goes on. They're like, of course I want to look at the cause, not the effect of a egg. Why wouldn't I want to just have something that just goes on the surface when I could have something that goes all the way deep inside? Of course. Why would I want to do something that damages my guiding relationship when I could do something that would preserve it for my whole life? Of course. But then you get in the middle of the chaos and all the triggers come up and you don't know what to do, because just because you had the epiphany doesn't mean you have the behavior and the skills and the integration of the whole philosophy. So it takes some time to learn and practice, like anything. It's like anything, I think of conscious parenting as an art form. I myself am an artist, and I'm an artist in multiple different disciplines. I'm a dancer and a dance teacher, and fairly well known. I mean, I don't say that to show off, but I say that because I've put a lot of deep thought and work and care into my dancing, and I still think of myself as a beginner. So if any other contact people are listening, I'm just a beginner. But in terms of understanding parenting and how the mind works, it's important, because when I've watched the progress of myself as a dancer, I noticed the same process, where first it was very awkward and challenging, and then I would learn deeper and deeper and deeper. But the learning never ends, and it goes deep inside. It's the same with my drawing. My drawing has lots of difficult and awkward stages to it. If you've seen my drawings, they're pretty good. But I put a lot of practice into it. And same with my martial arts. I've been doing martial arts for over 30 years, and I think it's just over 32 years now. And back when I was more like really into it and really out there, I was being invited on like all expense paid trips around the world to teach martial arts and to study martial arts. Studying is more my thing, but I was also a teacher, and to participate in international conferences and stuff. And yet the experience of the artistic development of it was kind of the same. There's almost kind of like an abandonment to the process, and it's kind of like that with gentle parenting, because it's kind of different from the mainstream way of thinking about parenting. Kind of different. It's very different. It's a very different way to look at kids. Like I was looking at this post today when somebody, oh, you know what it was? It was on my good friend Eric's page. That's somebody had, Suja, I think it was, I commented on a post from like a few years ago where he talked about spanking, and why can't we just not spank kids? Why can't we just not hit kids? And like Eric, like me, Eric is, and Sujai, and our whole community is like so passionate about wanting to save kids from that pain. And I could feel Eric's heart in this post. And a lot of the time, I wrote a post about this today, actually. A lot of the time when we post things like that about punishment and spanking and stuff, and even this video, people say, well, don't judge parents. Of course, like if I judged parents, I couldn't be of any use to anybody, and and um, But the thing is, what people a lot of the time people do is they'll say something like, look, maybe the parents were just tired and at the end of their rope, and that's why they hit their kids. And they're not even not pro spanking people. And of course, yes, like I help people with that. I help people through that kind of experience all the time. The key isn't to say that it's okay that they spanked because they were frustrated. Because what I do is I think if I put any other demographic in the same dynamic, if I say, like a husband hit their wife because they just had a hard day and they were frustrated, or a wife hit a husband, or a partner hit a partner, husband hit a husband or wife hit a wife. I want to try and cover um, all the different types of relationships can be. But I mean, if you think about it in that relationship, or you think about it like put races in there, or put different disabilities in there, or put different socioeconomic uh, situations in there, put any other demographic in there, put a religion in there, put somebody from another country in there, anything. We wouldn't say, oh, they just hit them. It's okay. They just hit them because they're tired and frustrated. We would never, well, I mean, some people would, but it's hard to say that. And it's because there's like this way that we put kids in a different category, and it's really, really challenging. So when we come to the gentle parenting path, we're dismantling that. It's just like when I had my feminist awakening back in 1990. And I remember, I know it's 1990 because I remember it so clearly. It was 1990, I had my feminist awakening. I was like, oh my gosh, patriarchy is a thing, misogyny is a thing. I had no idea. And I went from being somebody who would go, feminism, 1990. It's 2020 now, so it's 30 years. I've been working really hard as a feminist ally since. But I went from that in one moment, the light turned on. I was like, oh, I had no idea. And in that moment, I became a dedicated feminist ally. But I had some really terrible perspectives before that, and then it's taken me years and years and years and years and years and years of practice to be a decent feminist ally. And even now I get called out now, every now and then for like, Vivek, come on, that's not how that's not the way. And I'm like, oh, okay, thank you, thank you. Or Vivek, this is a feminist issue like this. And I'm like, oh, really? I had no idea. My friend Nicole is someone I've learned a lot about that from in the last year or so that we've been working together. She's pointed that stuff out to me a lot, and I really appreciate that. Anyway, so let me focus back on my point because I go off on stories all over the place, and I don't even know how to tell if anyone's listening because this is YouTube, and it makes it very. I don't really know how. I would love it if everybody like clicked through to my YouTube channel and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I just crossed 500 followers like just recently, and somebody screenshotted it and sent it to me, and I was so excited. Of course, I'd love to add a few more zeros to that, but even a few more would be great. So just come over and follow me. I still remember when I had 99 followers. And I called my wife over. I said, you have to, um, you have to subscribe to my YouTube channel so that I'll have 100 followers. And she's like, oh, okay, Vivek. And then she did it, and it was so great. Ah, goodness me. Right. So back on track. Focus. Trusting the process. So, a lot of the time when I do talk to parents who are going through a really hard time and the chaos is ensuing, the tendency is to move back towards coercion. Of course, it is because it's like I said, it's all we know. We don't really have the skills, but we're learning the skills. And the beautiful thing about working with people on a regular basis is they come back and they say, okay, I did this. And I'm like, I get it. Of course, it's understandable. Let's look at what we can do next time. Let's look at how we can look at the situation differently. Let's look at how we can put some things in place where that won't happen again. Let's look at what are the parts of you inside that have really got activated, and how can we find other outlets for that, and how can we find a way through that and a healing with it. And we go through so many different aspects, right? So great. It's such a holistic way of looking at it. And then your kid yells at you 5 minutes later and swears at you 5 minutes later, and you remember all this nice stuff Vivek said, and then there's that moment, right? Because the process is such that they will keep swearing at you for a little while. It's different. It's a different kind of process than the punitive mindset, the control behavior mindset, where it's a failure if the behavior continues. It's a failure. That's the whole mindset. The whole mindset is centered around that. That if the behavior happens again, it's a failure. And then you're a failure as a parent, and the kid, and look, I'm pointing to myself, and I'm a failure as the kid, and the whole system is a damn failure. And so what do? We get more coercive. We have to try harder next time. Of course, we have to try harder. And this is the spiral I see happening over and over and over again. I don't mean to laugh. I really don't mean to laugh. I don't mean dismissive. That's really kind of like it's like a nervous laughter. It's like a defensive laughter. It's like a fear-based laughter. It's like, I don't know, fear, but it's also a laughter that says, like, I see the pattern, I see the pattern. And when we can see the pattern a little bit more clearly, then we can engage with the pattern more consciously. Let me say that again. When we can see the pattern more clearly, we can engage with the pattern more consciously. And this is why I love the title conscious parenting, because I want to be conscious of how I engage with my patterns. I want to be conscious of the patterns I set with my kid. So instead, when my kid or any kid that I'm dealing with, when they have a behavior that that I'm struggling with, right away, I want to really focus on my mindset, and something I call having a mindset. We talk about having a growth mindset or a learning mindset, and I love both those things. I want to go before we hit those. I want to go one level kind of lower than that. I don't know, lower. I want to go one level of foundation, where instead of thinking about the kind of mindset, I just want to think about the fact that I'm operating from a mindset. Are you aware that you're operating from a mindset? And what is that mindset? And how much of it is consciously chosen by you, and how much is it imposed? How much of it was imposed in your childhood and in your teenagehood and your early adulthood? How much was it imposed by traumatic events? How much was it imposed by things that just happened to happen at the same time? And you're like, oh, maybe that's how it happens. Like, there's so many different ways. So what I want to do is I want to have a very conscious chosen value system. I want to know my values. I want to know my priorities. I want to choose them based on my own thinking. I don't want to operate from all those past patterns. I want conscious patterns. So that's the work that happens. But this is the thing, right? As we're looking at old patterns, as we're looking to rewrite, to first of all, to look at them and see which ones align with our deep value systems, and then figuring out what are those deep values that maybe you haven't had a chance to really deeply think about, or you have, but you keep having to push them away because they're inconvenient and challenging. And I know I just got a thing saying Margie Zintz is live playing music. If you are listening to me right now, I would recommend stop listening to me and go listen to Margie, because she's an amazing musician. Her singing will bring you joy and love. So I just got the notice on my Facebook. Go to Margie's Facebook page if you're friends with her and go watch her sing. But if you're not, then just stay here and watch me. So, so in that moment when your kid swears at you again, remember your mindset. Have a mindset, right? Practice having a mindset. Practice noticing the mindset you're operating from, and bringing it back in alignment, just like in normal things, right? Like if you're washing the dishes, can you notice the mindset that you're washing the dishes with? Because there's a lot of different ways we can wash the dishes. We can wash the dishes resentfully, joyfully, sensually, humorously, scientifically, like experimenting, artistically, musically. There's so many ways to, and we can partner with our kids with it. We can make jokes. We can make a mess. You can use it as a chance to do squats. There's so many ways to engage with the dishes. It's not a single dimensional thing. And so this is what I mean when I talk about like really engaging with the mindset, with knowing your mindset, with operating from a consciously chosen mindset. The mindset. Have a mindset. Before you choose the mindset, notice that you are operating from a mindset. There's so much. It's kind of it's kind of it's kind of like noticing that you've been wearing glasses you never saw before. That's what having the mindset is. Because then beautiful, then we can interchange our lens. We can choose our lenses, right? Because right now, all of us, including myself, as I'm saying it, as I'm teaching it, I still have the invisible lens I cannot see. And I know a year from now, I'll look back on this day and I'll think, look at all those lenses that were revealed to me in the last year. I know that. I know that there's things I cannot know that I don't know. But I also trust my process, because when I look a year past behind by the swords over there, when I look at the year past, I can see so many more lenses revealed to me in this past year. A year of so much intensity, right? 2020. But I learned so much about myself, and deepened my practice in so many ways. And hurt in ways I haven't hurt in a long, long, long time, too. And all of that is part of my process. So this is what I mean when I say trust the process. So with our kids, again, I'm going back to it. With our kids, you have the call, you watch the video, you feel inspired, you have an epiphany, and your kid comes and swears at you in that moment. And you want to just react, of course, because the patterns are all still there. So that's the moment, because we practice having a mindset. That's the moment. You focus your mindset and you say, I'm going to look at the cause. And it's almost like you look lower, you look deeper. It's like you see the house and you see the foundation underneath. You see the little tip of the iceberg, you see the iceberg underneath. You see the tree here and you see the root system spreading out underneath. Not only the root system, but sorry, you can't even see my hands. The root system, right? The tree, root system, and then root system connected to the earth, right? So you can see this much bigger system that's at play here when you have an image like that. I like the tree. The tree's a good one. A mountain is a good one. There's so many ways, but just having some kind of way of saying to yourself, you're not going to get fooled by the exterior of what's happening. And you're going to look at the deeper humanity of what's happening, because we dehumanize when we only look at behavior. Because what we really have here is something deeply human. There's a suffering that's happening. There's a struggling that's happening. Or there's also a learning and experimenting that's happening. There's a protecting that can happen as well. Like there's so many different deep ways that children interact with their environment. And so when we are with our kids in that moment and the behavior erupts, if we narrow our vision and we only look at the behavior, then we can get trapped into coercion. But if we broaden our awareness and we see the roots, and also you think about the branches and the leaves, where it's going, right? Where it's going is so important too, not only what the foundation, where it's come from. Because I don't like, if my kid won't brush their teeth today and I force them, what I'm doing is I'm creating a terrible association with toothbrushing. And I'm not thinking of the future. I'm not thinking of the harm I'm doing in, what about their teeth today? Yes, but what about if they never brush their teeth as soon as they have the autonomy over it? Like I remember when I was like between 10 and 14, I never brushed my teeth hardly ever, because I was rebelling, because I always got told I had to brush my teeth. And even then I crossed my arms, like I got like this, just telling the story. I remember being a teenager, and my parents would come in and they would smell my breath and they would check my toothbrush. And I figured it out. I put a little bit of toothpaste on the corner of my mouth. I can still feel myself doing this. I can wet the toothbrush, put a little toothpaste and wet the toothbrush, and I never brushed my teeth. Or I would gargle with a little toothpaste or smear it, something to make it, if I thought I was going to get checked. And I always wondered how I never got major cavities in those days, but maybe just the power of my anger kept the cavities at bay. They were afraid of me. Okay, uncross your arms, Vivek. The thing is, if somebody had just like slowed way down with me and looked at me deeply, in a deeply human way, and said, I'm here with you. I'm not rushing. I'm here with you no matter what. Let's look at this together. Doesn't matter what the issue is. That is such a deep thing. And so this is the deeply humanizing aspect of gentle parenting is we don't look at the effect, the behavior, but we look at the deeply human experience that this being is having, and we connect with them on that level. And we look at where does the solution to this deep, or maybe it's even not a deep problem, even a shallow problem like red cup, blue cup. Still the same process. I always say red cup, blue cup. You gave them a red cup, they wanted a blue cup. But you asked for a red cup, but I really wanted a blue cup. And then it's the worst thing in the world, right? Depending on the age. And but regardless, it's still the same thing. It's still a deeply human experience in that moment. This is the thing, like because it's not the same thing I would cry over, I delegitimize, devalue, dehumanize. And then we're prone to shifting our mindset, which leads to a shift in behavior. This is why the mindset's so important. So the reason I say trust the process is if it's taking longer than you would imagine, because it will, if other behaviors erupt at first because it's a little bit chaotic as the transition from coercion to collaboration happens, it's a little bit chaotic. Plus, like I said, the patterns are being de-written and then rewritten. And so the de-writing and the rewriting, or the overwriting, or the amplifying and the re-amplifying, or it's all those things. It's not or, it's and. It's all those kind of things are happening all at the same time. But as we're doing all this work, everything is kind of jumbled up. It's like you take a jar full of glitter and beads and you shake the whole thing up, you're going to get like a lot of chaos for a while. But the chaos settles into a new pattern. That's what we're doing. And it takes a while. Sometimes it takes months. Sometimes it takes a couple of years of really consistent, dedicated work, sitting in the transition chaos, trusting the process. Because if you go back to coercion, it's really hard. Now, I'm not talking about slip ups. We all slip up. Even I slip up to this day, 23 years later. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about here. I'm talking about my decisions. Like every day I get up and today I'm going to commit. Yes, you're going to make mistakes every day. That's okay. It's going to happen. But every day, get up and recommit every single day, recommit to the path, recommit to the mindset, recommit to believing in the path, believing in the process, trusting the process, that connection, that learning from the inside out, that teaching the values through relationship and modeling and exploration rather than wrongness and consequences and lectures. Still teaching, but through a different medium. This is the thing people have to really, a lot of people miss, is that we're still teaching. We're just teaching in a deeper, more effective, more human way that preserves the relationship. But it also looks different on the outside. Therefore, it can be disconcerting. So trusting that process is going to bear the fruit, even when it's difficult, that the new patterns are going to set, that trust is so important. This particular kind of parenting hasn't been studied. I don't think there's any studies on it, because I mean, like Sujai and I are teaching it. Here we are. This kind of like the teaching values non-coercively flowchart that I just have started releasing. I've been working on it for like 5 years, and I'm just starting to release it publicly. Talks about how we take values and we break the values down into like sub values. So if I want to teach something like if we're talking about interrupting, people always say you put the hand on the leg, and then when I turn to you, then then you'll have my attention. And it's a very gentle way of saying, don't interrupt me. Wait until I'm ready to talk to you. But it doesn't give the experience of why not interrupting is so important and when it's important, because sometimes it's important to interrupt. Sometimes it's wonderful to interrupt, And then, like, for example, if I'm having a really intense conversation with somebody about like spirituality or values or, social justice or something, and we're really into it, and I'll be like, and we got to do this. And the other person will go, yeah, like this. And I'll go, oh my gosh, like that. And we're like back and forth, and there's like this energy firing, and we're so excited like that, That's not interrupting, but it's still interrupting. But we both love it because the insights generate each other. And like, what that kind of conversation is, right? That's like fun and exciting. If I'm told I can't interrupt, where do I get to learn that skill? And how do I differentiate this interrupting from that interrupting? You can't learn that by giving somebody a rule, right? That's why I don't like those kind of rules so much, because they don't teach this kind of subtlety and get into it really deeply. But it's a whole different way of teaching. And so trusting this other way, that's why my saying is I taught my daughter to not interrupt by always allowing her to interrupt, because I wanted her to have the experience of being deeply tuned into, so that she would value that and offer it to others. And this is exactly how it turned out. And she had a very positive association with listening and being listened to. And that's a beautiful thing too. So we create these associations with our kids, which we don't even look at when we focus on behavior. We're not looking at the associations we're creating. And that's why, if you're doing the work of this inside out, relationship based, modeling based education, values education, exploration is a better word, because I'm exploring my values every day too. So why not just explore it together? That's really what it is. And you can be a certain guide, but there also are guides the same. I mean, my daughter was my guide from day one. Her consciousness guided me, her heart guided me, her love guided me. How is that less valid than me having a little bit more facility in worldly things, like how to eat with a fork and not get hit by a car? It's not less valid. It's not the things she was teaching me aren't less valid or valuable. So we had this mutuality experience too, and she felt it. So when kids feel that mutuality, and then when we teach from the inside out, and then we understand that if you're in a transition where you were doing more harsh parenting and now you're letting it go, there's going to be that chaos. But even without that, there's still going to be chaos, because learning is messy and growing. But we trust the process, and we say, and every morning we get up and say, okay, I'm not going to yell today. I'm not going to punish today. I'm not going to spank today. I'm not going to do it. And then you do it a little bit, but you try not to. And then tomorrow you wake up. I'm not. Today I'm going to use collaboration. I'm going to validate their emotions. I'm going to reflect back to them. I'm going to try and use humor and play. I'm going to connect and see their feelings underneath. You just like have a little thing that you say every day to yourself, just to remind yourself. And when I fail, I'm going to love myself through it. Add that in, please, because you don't want to be harboring all that intensity. But that's part of trusting the process, that you're always evolving towards. You know, as long as it doesn't matter if you make a million mistakes, as long as you are on the path, that's what counts. So I think I'm going to stop, everybody. Thank you very much. I just wanted to share this with you, to trust the process. When it looks like it's not working, trust the process of collaboration, trust the process of treating each other non-coercively, trust the process of educating from the inside out through, co-learning and co-exploration. Trust that empathy has power, and you don't need to tell people they're wrong. Trust that you can find a way through. And if you really need help, number one, please go through my Facebook page, just like start at the top and just go down, because like every one of these lives that I've done, I have so much helpful information for you. It's all just freely available. All my articles go into so much depth around things. And if you just go through all of that, it's like getting a whole entire course on gentle parenting, non-coercive collaborative parenting, and the mindset. And then if you come to Gentle Parents Unite, which is the big Facebook group that I'm on the admin team off with Sujai Johnston, just type in Gentle Parents Unite into Facebook, and we have 65,000 members, and it's a great place, and all the admin team are like really powerful advocates of this philosophy. And then we also have our paid subscription site where you can come and get more personal support and assistance from me and Sujai. If you really want to deepen your gentle conscious parenting practice, then that's a great place to be. You can find us there at gentleparentsunite.com/membership. And also, like I said, this is my first time trying to go live through YouTube. I don't know how well it worked, or if it was better for me just to do Facebook, but I thought I'd hit a different audience that way. So please subscribe to my YouTube channel. And that's it, everybody. Peace out. I love you. And I'm not sure how to stop this. I guess I stop it on Zoom. This is the funny after thing. Yes, I stop it on Zoom. All right, here we go. All right. Peace out, everybody. Much love to you. Any questions or comments or insights, please put them in the comments and tag me, because this is shared kind of all